All right, let's dive into something powerful and, maybe a little uncomfortable. What if, what if the things that drive you crazy about other people are actually just reflections of yourself? I mean, think about it. You're driving, someone cuts you off. Or that coworker who's always gossiping. That friend who comes off as a bit arrogant. We've all been there, right? You feel that flash of anger, that judgment. But why? Why do those things get under our skin so deeply? Well, that's exactly what we're going to unpack. So, here it is, the big, provocative idea from our source material, and I want you to just sit with this for a second. What I do not like in another exists in me. Whoa. Let that land. The very thing that you dislike, that you judge in someone else, the idea is it exists in some way inside you. And I can almost hear it now, right? That little voice in your head, the skeptic, just screaming, whoa, hold on, that is not me. That feels totally unfair. And look, that's a completely natural reaction. I think it's almost universal.
I mean, that instinct to defend ourselves, it's incredibly powerful. We spend our whole lives building this story of who we are, right? Our identity. And an idea like this feels like a direct hit. So of course, when that's challenged, our first response is to throw up a shield.
And you know what that shield sounds like? It's loud and clear. Oh, I never do that. I'm a patient person. I always stand in line. That kind of arrogance? No way. I would never behave like that. These are our defenses, our shields. But the real question is, what are we really protecting ourselves from? Okay, so here's where we need to get really clear on something. This is a crucial distinction. This whole idea isn't really about what you do, your day-to-day actions. It's about something way more subtle. It's about the difference between your actions and your potential. What's lying dormant inside you, whether you ever act on it or not. Let's try an analogy to make this make a bit more sense. Think about language. I'm speaking English right now, and you understand me. But why? Well, it's because the software for English is already installed in your brain. You learned it. It's a part of you. And that's the key, right? You can only recognize and understand it because the structure is already there, inside you. If I started speaking a language you've never heard, it would just be noise. And the argument here is that it's the same with behavior. You can't truly recognize a behavior in someone else if the blueprint, the possibility for that behavior, doesn't exist somewhere inside of you. Okay, here's another one. How about riding a bike? Maybe you learned when you were a kid, but you haven't been on one in, 30 years. If I gave you a bike today, you'd probably be a little wobbly, sure, but you'd figure it out, right? Your body remembers. That knowledge is still in there. And that's the point, exactly. Just because you choose not to ride a bike every day or you choose not to act on a certain impulse, that doesn't mean the ability to do it has just disappeared. The potential, it's always there. So let's bring this all back. When you see that impatience or that gossip or that arrogance out in the world and it really gets to you, that feeling of recognition, that's the signal. It's only possible because the seed, the fundamental human potential for that exact same trait, is planted somewhere inside you too. Now, you might be great at disciplining it, you might always choose a different path, and hey, that's what we call character, but the seed is still there. And I need to be super clear about this. This is not, and I repeat, not about beating yourself up. It's not about blame or guilt. In fact, it's the exact opposite. It's about shifting from pointing the finger at everyone else to taking responsibility for our own reactions. And that, right there, is where the power is. That's how we start to control our inner world and actually, grow. Okay, so how do we actually do that? It sounds good, but what's the first step? Well, the source material gives us this awesome, really practical tool. It's a whole framework for taking 100% responsibility, and it's called O.A.R. O.A.R. It's an acronym, and it stands for three pretty powerful words: ownership, accountability, and responsibility. And yeah, you can totally think of it like an oar for a boat. It's the tool you use to navigate the choppy waters of your own reactions, to stop being tossed around like a victim and start being the captain of your own ship. So here's how it works. The next time you feel that flash of irritation, instead of immediately pointing outwards, you pick up your O.A.R. and you ask yourself three questions. First, ownership. Okay, what is this situation showing me about myself? Then, accountability. All right, where does this thing, this seed, live inside of me? And then comes the big one, the most powerful step, responsibility. Okay, with this new awareness, what am I going to choose to do now? When you start using this, it's like a complete mental flip. Without it, our default setting is just, they're wrong.
and we go straight into defending our identity. That projection is totally unconscious. But with OAR, the question completely changes. It becomes, what is this activating in me? And just like that, you stop defending your identity and you start refining it. Projection stops being a blind spot and becomes like amazing data for your own personal growth.
And this really gets us to the heart of the matter, doesn't it? The whole point of this entire exercise. It's about taking that mirror we're always holding up to other people and just turning it around, pointing it at ourselves. Because that's where the real work, the stuff that actually changes you, that's where it begins.
Think about it. Without a tool like this, that mirror is just permanently pointed outwards. All we see are the flaws in the world around us. And we get stuck, right? Just waiting for everyone else to change so we can finally feel okay. But when you use OAR, you finally turn that mirror inward, and you start working on the one and only person you actually have any control over, yourself. And when you make that shift, I'm telling you, your whole experience of life can change. Life itself becomes your greatest teacher. Every single person who gets under your skin, they're now offering you a free lesson about your own inner world. Every person you look up to and admire, they're showing you the direction you could go. Every single little disturbance becomes this personal invitation to grow.
So what's the end game here? It's a state of really profound peace. The source material puts it so well. It says that when the seed of that trait you dislike has truly dissolved inside you, and that's the key word, not just pushed down, but dissolved, you won't be bothered by it anymore. You'll still see it out in the world, sure, but it'll just pass through you. No friction. That's true equanimity.
So, as we wrap this up, I want to leave you with one final, powerful question to take with you. The very next time you feel that flash of judgment, that little bit of irritation, just for a second, pause. Look into the mirror of that moment and ask yourself, what is this showing me right now about me? The answer? Well, it just might change everything.